All right, so get ready, because today we're diving into the world of Sir Isaac Newton.
Oh, absolutely.
This guy was a total legend.
He really was, yeah.
I mean, talk about a scientific rock star.
His impact is still felt today.
Seriously. To help us on this journey, we've got some excerpts from a McTutor biography.
A great source.
Yeah, it gives a pretty comprehensive overview of Newton's life.
And it's really fascinating.
Trust me, there's some serious trauma in there too, not just equations.
Oh, yeah. His life was full of ups and downs.
So according to this biography, Newton's life can be divided into 3 distinct periods.
Okay.
First up, we have his early years, starting from his birth in 1643, all the way up to him becoming a professor in 1669.
Makes sense.
It's crazy to think, he came from a family of farmers.
Humble beginnings.
Yeah, and get this, he didn't even know his father.
Really?
It's true.
Wow. What a start to life.
I know, right?
It's a good reminder that brilliance can come from anywhere.
So true.
Genius doesn't always announce itself right away.
Right, sometimes it takes a little something to ignite that spark.
Well, in Newton's case, you could say it was a global pandemic.
Wait, a pandemic?
Yep, when the plague shut down Cambridge University in 1665, Newton had to go back home to Lincolnshire.
Oh, right. I'd forgotten about that.
And get this, during that time, he had this incredible burst of intellectual energy.
Right.
He developed groundbreaking ideas in math, optics, physics, you name it, all before he turned 25.
No way.
Yeah.
So while everyone else was freaking out, he was like laying the foundation for calculus.
Exactly. It's amazing what a little downtime can do for the mind.
Talk about making the most of lockdown.
Right.
So was that like his eureka moment, inventing calculus?
Well, he called it the method of fluxions, and it was truly revolutionary.
Yeah, okay, I've heard that term before.
Basically, Newton realized that integration and differentiation were 2 sides of the same coin. He found ways to unify different mathematical approaches, and it's actually quite elegant when you look at it.
See, this is why I could never be a mathematician. My brain just doesn't work that way.
But you can appreciate it, right?
Totally. It's mind-blowing to see those connections.
Absolutely.
So did he publish his work on calculus right away?
Actually, no.
Really?
His work on calculus, De Methodis Seriorum Effluxionum, wasn't actually published for decades.
Wow. Talk about a perfectionist.
He wanted to get it just right.
Okay, so we have Newton, the farm boy, turned mathematical genius.
Quite a transformation.
What happens next in his journey?
Well, he eventually makes his way back to Cambridge after the plague subsides.
Makes sense.
He gets a fellowship at Trinity College.
Nice.
And by 1669, at just 27 years old, he lands the Lucasian Chair of Mathematics.
Isn't that the same position Stephen Hawking held?
The very same.
Wow, that's some serious academic prestige right there.
It's one of the most prestigious positions in mathematics.
What was Professor Newton teaching?
Optics.
Optics.
Yep, remember all those ideas he was brewing during the plague years? Well, his first lectures at Cambridge focused on his revolutionary discoveries about the nature of light.
Oh, so this is where the whole prism experiment comes in.
Exactly.
The one where he splits white light into all the colors of the rainbow.
Precisely.
I love that experiment. It's so simple, yet so powerful.
It's a classic for a reason.
But did everyone embrace his ideas right away?
Not quite.
Really?
There were other scientists like Robert Hooke.
Oh, I've heard of him.
Yeah, he strongly disagreed with Newton's conclusions.
What does Hooke think?
He believed light was made of waves, not particles, as Newton proposed.
Ah, the classic wave-particle debate.
One for the ages.
It's fascinating how some of these scientific arguments can continue for centuries.
It shows how complex these issues can be.
So how did Newton react to all this pushback?
Well, let's just say he wasn't exactly known for taking criticism well.
Oh, boy.
He could be quite sensitive and got into some pretty heated debates.
Especially with Hooke, right?
Especially with Hooke.
Sounds like the world of 17th century science had its fair share of drama.
It definitely did.
So amidst all this, Newton kept pushing forward.
He was relentless.
Didn't he also design a new type of telescope around this time?
Yes, he did.
What kind of telescope was it?
A reflecting telescope.
And why was that a big deal?
Well, it helped address some of the issues he identified with the refracting telescopes of the time.
Like what?
Things like chromatic aberration, for example.
I see.
This invention really solidified his reputation as a true pioneer.
Okay, so just to recap, we've got Newton's early life, his groundbreaking work on calculus, and his amazing discoveries in optics.
Don't forget his, shall we say, spirited interactions with other scientists.
Oh, yeah, that's...
It all paints a picture of a brilliant, complex, and sometimes controversial figure.
It's incredible. And to think This is just the beginning of his journey.
We haven't even touched on his work on gravity and the Principia yet.
I know. I can't wait to dig into that.
That's coming up in the next part of our deep dive.
Stay tuned, folks. Things are about to get really interesting. Okay, so we're back and ready for more Newton.
Ready when you are.
I am so fascinated by this next chapter of his life. Things are about to get pretty epic.
Oh, yeah. This period is marked by both incredible triumph, scientifically, and personal turmoil.
Really?
Yeah, it's the time when Newton publishes his masterpiece, the Principia.
Right.
But it's also when we see those rivalries and personal struggles really come to a head.
Okay, I got to ask, what's the deal with the Principia?
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's like one of the most important scientific works ever written.
It really is.
But to be totally honest, it's always seemed a bit intimidating to me.
Oh, I can understand that.
What's like the gist of it?
Well, at its core, the Principia lays out a framework for understanding the motion of, everything in the universe.
Everything.
Planets, comets, even apples falling from trees.
Hold on, the apple story, is that a real thing or just one of those science myths?
Well, it's probably been embellished over time.
Probably.
But it does capture the essence of Newton's insight.
So what, he was just shown under a tree one day?
Well, the idea is that he was observing an apple falling.
Uh-huh.
And it sparked a question in his mind.
What kind of question?
If gravity can pull an apple to the ground,
Yeah.
could it also extend further, maybe even to the moon?
Whoa.
It's a pretty profound thought.
So like that simple observation led to one of the most profound discoveries in science.
Pretty much. Newton realized that the same force responsible for an apple falling to Earth must also be what keeps the moon in orbit around us.
Okay.
And the planets in orbit around the sun.
Self-connected.
Exactly. It was a unifying principle connecting the celestial and the terrestrial.
So he basically figured out that every object in the universe is pulling on every other object.
That's the essence of the law of universal gravitation.
It is mind-blowing.
It states that the force of attraction between two objects depends on their masses and the distance between them.
All right, I think I'm starting to get it. But what's even more impressive is that he didn't just have this idea.
Right.
He figured out how to describe it mathematically.
Oh, yeah.
And he did all this without computers or even calculators.
It's truly remarkable. Newton's Principia is filled with complex calculations and proofs.
Like, how is that even possible?
He used his calculus, the method of fluxions, to solve these intricate problems of motion.
So what kind of things did he explain using this method?
Oh, things like the tides, the precession of the equinoxes,
Okay.
and the orbits of comets.
It's almost like he was working on a different level of consciousness compared to everyone else.
He certainly had a singular focus and an incredible ability to delve deep into complex problems.
Speaking of delving deep, I know Newton was also fascinated by alchemy.
That's right.
Was he, like, trying to turn lead into gold? Like in those old stories?
Well, it was a bit more nuanced than that.
Like,
for Newton, alchemy wasn't just about creating precious metals.
What was it about then?
It was about understanding the fundamental nature of matter and its transformations.
Huh, interesting.
He saw connections between alchemy, optics, and even theology.
Whoa, so he was a bit of a mystic as well as a scientist.
Yeah, you could say that.
It seems like he was always searching for deeper meaning, whether it was in the laws of physics or the secrets of the universe.
Absolutely. He was driven by this intense curiosity, this need to understand the how and why of everything.
So, okay, with the publication of the Principia,
Yes.
Newton had, like, reached the pinnacle of his scientific career, right?
You could say that.
Was it all smooth sailing from there?
Not exactly.
What do you mean?
Well, remember his rivalry with Robert Hooke?
How could I forget?
It continued to simmer even after Hooke's death.
Oh, wow.
And when Newton became president of the Royal Society, some historians believe he used his position to kind of downplay Hooke's contributions to science.
Really?
It's a bit of a controversial topic.
I can imagine.
Even brilliant minds can get caught up in petty rivalries, it seems.
So true. And then there's the whole controversy over who invented calculus.
Oh, yeah, the Newton-Leibniz thing.
Exactly. It's one of the most famous disputes in the history of science.
So much drama.
I know, right?
I never realized the world of science could be so intense.
It can be quite cutthroat at times.
But in the midst of all this, Newton makes a pretty major career change.
He does.
Right.
In 1696, he becomes Warden of the Royal Mint.
Okay.
And a few years later, he was promoted to Master of the Mint.
So he went from decoding the universe to managing money.
It might seem like an odd move,
It does.
but Newton took to it with his usual rigor and focus.
Did he miss doing science?
There's evidence that he did.
Right.
He wrote to a friend expressing a desire to do more good in the world,
Interesting.
and even considered returning to Cambridge.
Wow.
But, even as Master of the Mint, he continued to revise the Principia,
He never stopped working.
and he published his book, Optics, in 1704.
It's amazing to think about everything he accomplished. He truly was a polymath, a master of multiple disciplines.
His impact extends far beyond science, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, his ideas about reason, observation, the scientific method,
It all influenced the Enlightenment?
and continues to shape our thinking today.
For sure.
I think what strikes me most about Newton
Yeah.
is that he wasn't just a brilliant mind.
He was a human being.
Yeah, like a complex and multifaceted human being full of contradictions and complexities.
Exactly. He could be brilliant and petty,
Right.
revolutionary and secretive.
It's what makes him so fascinating,
It's a good reminder that even the greatest minds are products of their time.
and their own personal struggles.
For sure.
Okay, so as we move into the final part of our deep dive,
Okay.
I'm curious to explore what Newton's legacy means for us today.
I like that.
Like, how do his discoveries continue to shape our understanding of the universe and ourselves?
It's a big question.
Stay tuned, folks.
We're going to unpack all that and more.
Okay, so we've journeyed through Newton's pretty incredible life, right?
Yeah, we have.
From his, humble beginnings
Right.
to his scientific triumphs,
Absolutely.
his intense rivalries, even his foray into finance.
Quite a journey.
It's been a wild ride, really a testament to a mind that just never stopped questioning and exploring.
I think that's a really good way to put it.
So we've covered a lot of ground. I mean, a lot.
We have.
But now I'm kind of curious, like, what does it all mean?
That's the big question, isn't it?
What's Newton's lasting legacy?
Yeah.
How do we even begin to make sense of this complex figure and his impact on, on the world?
Well, that's a question that continues to fascinate historians and scientists alike.
I bet.
I mean, on one hand, Newton fundamentally changed the way we see the universe
Right.
and our place in it.
He's like the ultimate scientific icon. Right?
In many ways, yes.
Yeah.
But his influence goes far beyond science.
How so?
Well, his ideas, his
Yeah.
emphasis on reason and observation,
Yeah.
it helped shape the Enlightenment,
Well-
which was a period of radical intellectual and philosophical change.
So his impact wasn't just about equations and theories.
No, not at all.
It was about shifting our entire worldview.
Exactly. Before Newton, many people saw the universe as unpredictable,
Right.
governed by forces beyond human comprehension.
It all seems so random.
Right, but Newton showed us that the universe actually operates according to a set of natural laws.
Okay.
Laws that could be discovered and understood through observation and reason.
It's like he gave us a roadmap, a way to make sense of the cosmos.
Precisely. And that was incredibly empowering.
It must have been.
It sparked a sense of wonder and a belief in the power of the human intellect to unlock the secrets of nature.
It's hard to imagine what it must have been like to live before Newton.
I know, right?
Like, before we had this grasp of gravity or
Yeah.
the laws of motion, it's like we were seeing the world through a completely different lens.
He definitely provided a framework that revolutionized scientific thought.
But science is always evolving, right?
It is, yeah.
So are there parts of Newton's work that haven't, stood the test of time?
Of course, science is a process of constant evolution and refinement.
Right.
For example, his theory of gravity,
Uh-huh.
while groundbreaking for its time,
It was.
has been superseded by Einstein's theory of general relativity.
So Einstein basically took Newton's ideas and kind of, ran with them.
In a way, yes.
Yeah.
Einstein built upon the foundation that Newton laid. He didn't completely discard Newton's work,
No.
but he offered a more comprehensive and nuanced understanding of gravity.
I see.
But even today, Newton's laws of motion are still incredibly useful for describing the movement of objects in everyday life.
So even though some of his theories have been, refined or expanded upon,
Right.
his contributions to science are still incredibly valuable.
Absolutely. Newton's legacy continues to inspire scientists and mathematicians today.
That's awesome.
He really set the stage for centuries of progress,
Yeah.
and his ideas continue to fuel new discoveries and innovations.
It's amazing to think about, the ripple effect of his work,
It really is.
It makes you wonder what he'd be working on if he were alive today.
That's a tantalizing thought, given his boundless curiosity and intellect.
It really is.
It's hard to say for sure,
Yeah.
but perhaps he'd be drawn to some of the biggest mysteries in modern science.
Like what?
Oh, the nature of dark matter and dark energy, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
Or the search for extraterrestrial life?
Who knows?
Maybe even trying to unravel the secrets of consciousness.
Or the origins of the universe.
Exactly, but I have no doubt that he would be on the front lines of discovery, pushing the boundaries of human knowledge.
And challenging us to see the world in new ways.
Absolutely.
What a legacy.
Yeah.
Newton's story is a powerful reminder that the quest for knowledge is an ongoing journey.
It is.
A journey that requires curiosity, courage, and a relentless pursuit of understanding.
Well said.
It's a journey that we can all embark on, really,
I agree.
no matter our background or expertise. We each have the capacity to question, to explore, and to contribute to the grand tapestry of human knowledge.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Isaac Newton,
Yeah.
let's carry with us his spirit of inquiry,
His dedication.
his dedication to unraveling the mysteries of the universe.
And his unwavering belief in the power of human reason.
Who knows, maybe one of our listeners will be the next Newton, the next visionary who transforms our understanding of the world around us.
I hope so.
Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
Couldn't have said it better myself.